We are back here with Ted Thomas, who is America's tax lien and tax deed authority. You know, Ted, I was driving into the studio today and I stopped and I had myself a cup of Starbucks coffee. And I started thinking, hey, yeah, not bad and all. It's got that neat little logo and all that and the stars reaching up. But I thought, I think the first Starbucks opened in Washington State. So then I thought, well, what the heck? Let's talk about tax deed sales in Washington State. So tell us a little bit about the tax deed sales and the house auctions that happen in Washington State, Ted.
Okay, well, Washington is a real popular place right now to do tax defaulted auction sales. And why do people want to do that? Because the market has gone up so much over the past decade, especially. A lot of people moved from California into Washington, and the prices have just gone crazy up there. So I've had a lot of clients that are buying in and around, Puget Sound, which is the counties of Snohomish and Pierce County and King County and so on. So tax defaulted properties are sold throughout the state of Washington.
Washington is a tax deed state, correct?
Yeah, it's a deed state, and what will happen is that when the auction takes place, they'll actually sell the property, and the property will then be transferred to that new owner. And so they'll get a property without a mortgage and without a deed of trust on it. Now, there could be other liens, but there won't be a deed or trust or loan on it, that's for sure.
Is there a particular type of bid method that they use that's different in Washington than other states?
I would say the caution people want to use in Washington is every state does things the way they want to do it themselves. So the sales officially in Washington are called foreclosure sales. Now, all the other 49 states call them tax defaulted auctions, okay? Or they call them tax lien certificate auctions. But Washington State calls them foreclosure auctions. All right, so when you're trying to find a tax defaulted auction, you're probably going to have a challenge because they're going to call it a foreclosure auction. So it's just their way of doing it. But the process is the same. If the property owner doesn't pay the tax, the local county sheriff, along with the treasurer, goes out and confiscates the property. All right, now they've confiscated, sent a lot of notices of default to people. All right, now the property owner did not pay the tax, so the county now will advertise the property for auction. They can find the auctions on the county website, and they can find them. They'll also be published by the county, and they'll be in the local newspaper. All right, so those auctions are published. Then anybody can go to the auction that wants to. The highest bidder will be the winner of the property.
Okay, so it's fairly easy to find tax delinquent list in Washington State. You mentioned the paper, or is there any other easier way? Are there other methods of finding the list?
I'm a little prejudiced because I created an interactive map and auction calendar, which will show the whole United States, but they can pick any state they want, and it'll show how many auctions are in that state, where the auctions are, and they can get it so they narrow it all the way down to how many properties at an auction. So some of the auctions are going to have a lot of properties. Some are going to be very competitive, and some, especially in a place like Washington. So if you go back to that map, I'll show you. Okay, so I'm going to put my finger on here. Okay, this area here is Puget Sound. I didn't put the water there, but these are little counties. That's a little county where it says number 1 there, number 2, those are little counties. You see some of these other, but right here where I'm running my hand up and down, this is the Rocky Mountains. This is a massive mountain. You can't just drive straight across it. You're going to go way up 10,000 feet and come back down. So this part of the state is almost like a desert. This side is all dry over here because when the water comes in from the Pacific, and then it rains out along these mountains. But these are all very wet county. Like everybody knows Seattle, it rains a lot. You go over here to Spokane, my goodness, you get over there and it's dry. It's like the desert. And then down here, this is bordering Oregon. These counties down here, this is all big farm country down here. So, but the Rocky Mountains run up and down. So you can find almost anything you want in the state as far as buying tax defaulted property. And you can see there's 39 different counties, but all the action, all the people live right in this area right here.
Hey, what can you tell us about Pierce County foreclosure auctions? Are those hot things?
Yeah, that's Pierce County's here, and that's Tacoma. Okay, now Tacoma is like a bread and butter city, and it's where a lot of industry is and stuff like that, naval installations close by and what have you. So Tacoma is going to be, they're going to have anywhere from 50 to 75 properties every time they have an auction. Further up here, like these counties like Snohomish and King County, those are famous. And believe me, the real estate there, a vacant lot can be $80,000 to $150,000.
Wow.
And that's just, 20 minutes away. But all of this is a corridor going all the way up to where it says Washington. It's really Vancouver up there, but Canada. You're in that's the Canadian border. But it's a real popular place.
Well, it sounds like people are going to have real opportunities there in investing in tax delinquent properties and in those areas. But where should they start, Ted? I mean, is there a tax deed investing course that you would recommend by any chance?
Best bet is to start out at tedthomas.com and then kind of choose. So every month we run two all-day workshops. Okay, they're virtual workshops, so you can sit at home, just sit in your rusty dusty, can eat your lunch, drink a beer, do whatever you want. And we have a class that starts on the West Coast. It starts at 8 o'clock in the morning, goes to 2 in the afternoon. On the East Coast, it starts at 11 o'clock. All right, so that class runs all day. There'll be anywhere from 100 to 150 people in the class. That's twice a month, and that's only $47. So it's $6 or $7 an hour to learn how. So that's a good place to start. If they don't want to do that, below me will be the auction calendar. They can go and they can visit a couple of the other states electronically and see where all the auctions are. I'm going to tell you right now, don't buy a property unless you've had boots on the ground or someone you know has got boots on the ground, because you don't know what's happened to the property or whatever. So that'll give you some idea where to get started.
Well, that's great. Thanks so much for sharing with us, Ted. And what do you recommend people do right now? Just head to your site?
Just go below me to tedthomas.com. And if you want, you can go to the auction calendar. We'll even send you a free auction list.
Thanks for watching, everybody.